what went right when it comes to these tsunami warnings for people who live along the coast?
So I can tell you, Shelby, I think one of the things we're getting at here is what's the process? What does it look like? How do we know how we make things better? Like you said, what went right? What do we want to change? So fortunately, we have a couple things working for us. One, with distant tsunamis, we have a lot of time to get information, assess what's going on, look at what areas might be impacted, and then get that information out not only to cooperators such as other law enforcement agencies, other first responders, but the community members as well. So those people that might be impacted or might need to leave. Secondly, this isn't our first distant tsunami. Our most recent distant tsunami was in 2022, so pretty recent. And we've learned from past events, how we can better serve our community, how we can get information out there and keep people safe. So we have a great emergency alert system, which is Lincoln Alerts. Sam, I know this is your wheelhouse, so hop in anytime. But we've made those improvements based on past experiences. So we've got a good Lincoln Alert system. We, of course, use Facebook because a lot of our community members use social media. We send out on Flash Alert, which goes to our media partners like you. Community members can also sign up for those. And then, of course, we update our website. Right now, even though we sent out the cancellation notice at 10:25 this morning, we're still working this event. So there's not an active tsunami threat for our community or anything like that. But Sam and I and some of the other members of the EOC are still wrapping up tasks. So we haven't done our after action review yet. We do an after action for every single event that we do because it's so important that we continue to learn and grow so that we can do things better each time. So we don't necessarily have an answer right now about, what will be an improvement that will come out, but we are proud of what we've been able to do so far. And we know we just keep getting better.
Samantha, did you have anything you wanted to hop in and say or?
No, I think Jess covered it pretty well. She's got the answer about the after action process really dialed in, so I feel like she says it a lot more eloquently than I could.
Okay. Well, okay, and I know we don't know necessarily about like what went wrong, but a lot of what I was seeing is people were like, well, there's still people in the water, and whether that was like them not knowing or them choosing to be out in the water, what would you guys say to that?
I can go. I'm sorry. So you're saying that you saw reports of people in the water and you're wondering why they were still in the water.
I'm saying like people like still chose to be in the water because they're like, oh, I want to ride that wave. But then other people are like, well, how do we know that like they even knew that they were supposed to come out of the water? And that's my question. That's like my comment is like, how are you guys getting all the information to people out who like may not like have their phones and like actually maybe actively riding waves in the water?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So with a distant tsunami event like this one, we have quite a bit of time. So that's a gift that we are able to lean on when we're thinking about how we want to manage these types of events. Some of the things that we can do with that time are door-to-door evacuations, which we opted to not do during this event. And part of the reason that we did that was because the wave height was going to be so minimal compared to what we originally were anticipating. So when we came in, we were thinking, okay, if it's going to be really big, what is our response strategy going to be? And then we waited because it's such a long event. We knew that the buoys, there's various buoys out in the ocean that help get wave height. The buoys were going to get hit with plenty of time for us to make a decision, and that information helped feed our decision-making strategy. So once we got those wave height estimates from National Weather Service and NOAA from the various science methods that they use with the buoys in the water. Sorry, I'm not a technical scientist, so that may not be 100% accurate language, but this is the way my emergency management brain understands it. Once we were able to get that information, we could make a decision around how much we needed to push to get people out of those areas. And because the wave height was going to be a little bit lower, we opted not to because it was going to be essentially like a high tide level of height change. So it was much less significant than it could have been, and that works in our favor. Now, if it was going to be a very significant event, we would go door to door, we would evacuate the beaches, we would rely on a lot of different strategies to try to get people off the beaches out of the water and make sure everybody knew beyond just text alerting, right, and pushing out Facebook messages and things along those lines. Did that help? Did that answer your question?
Yeah, because you guys didn't have any sirens or anything go off here, right?
So sirens are kind of an interesting piece. They have some good and they have some bad. Lincoln County on the county level does not, for county government, does not have sirens. Now, various jurisdictions within Lincoln County do have sirens. So if a city has a siren, they can choose how they want to turn that on and turn that off. That's a decision that they make. And that's not something that we can do at the county level because we do not have a countywide siren system. That's not really a thing on the Oregon coast, I would say. And there's a lot of different reasons for that. It's expensive to keep them up. The technology, some places, I believe, up north of us have invested in new technology. It's very expensive and you can alert them from your phone, but that's really, really expensive thing to put in. So most places don't have that. And if you have a tsunami siren, it's something you have to manually be there to put off, which isn't a great strategy for a local event, right? Because you don't want to have a person that has to be there turning that siren off because everybody has to get to high ground. And so in a distant event like this, yeah, a tsunami siren could be a useful tool to inform surfers or people out on the beach that there's a tsunami coming, but there's usually enough time because of the distance that we can get to those people without needing them. And then again, like I said, Lincoln County doesn't have, we don't have a countywide system for that. And Jess, I think you wanted to add something. So did you?
Yeah, super quickly. Sam, excellent points. We also had a cooperator call yesterday. So that's where, other first responders, so hospitals, fire, other law enforcement, the schools, everybody gets together to talk about what's going on. One of the things that was discussed was who's going out to alert people. Again, because we weren't evacuating homes or businesses, just the beaches. Some cities did decide to go and tape off their beach access points. Some cities chose not to do that. The start was expected very late in the night. It continued on with the time on our side. That was a decision that some cities chose to make.
Awesome. Well, hey, thank you guys so much. Is there anything that I missed?
I think, Sam, one thing that we like to say, right? This is a really good reminder to take a few minutes today to take steps so that you're prepared for the next thing. So off the top of our head, I'm speaking for Sam. 1, make sure you're signed up for your local alerts. 2, have an emergency plan and practice it. 3, check your supplies, check your communication plans. Think about what you'll do if you're at work, if the kids are at school, if you're at grandma's, whatever. Taking a few minutes today can make a really big difference for tomorrow.
Thank you guys. I appreciate you.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Shelby.
Shelby.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, so nice to meet you. Nice to see you again, Jess, and have a good rest of your day.
You as well.
Thank
Bye,
you. You
guys.
too.